Yeah, you know what time it is. It's one question for every NFL team, the NFC edition. And like I said, bro, before I do these, I try to start doing these every year, and I actually like doing these. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get right to it with the Detroit Lions. And my one question for the Detroit Lions is how much of an impact that coaching staff will have since Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn is going to be gone. I think personally, I felt like they're gonna feel it more on defense since I think Aaron Glenn is the best hire at all of last year. But I do believe in Dan Campbell that much to where I think he was still galvanizing his team to where they'll still will fight for a 1 seed and possibly make the Super Bowl this year. So I'm not too worried, but that is a valid question though. So my one question for the New York Giants is how much of a ceiling is that defense? Because I believe the Giants defense is going to be borderline top 5 defense in the league, mostly because of that pass rush. Because that front four with Dexter Lawrence, Abdul Carter, Brian Burns, and then also with KT being the rotational edge, that's gonna be really great. I really believe in this defensive line for sure. Where they could possibly be for sure top 10, maybe top 5, depending on how good the coverage guys are. But I believe the defense where they're gonna be in more games than what people realize, and it's not gonna be the same old Giants where they're getting blown out about every other game. So I do believe this Giants defense is alive. So my one question for the Philadelphia Eagles is how much of a role is Jalen Hurts gonna have throwing the ball wise? Because last year they went more of just running the ball, get the ball to Saquon and let him eat, and gave him a Super Bowl. So I don't know if we're gonna do that again because this would be Jalen Hurts' third offensive coordinator in a row now. So we'll see what they do, but I think Jalen Hurts, in my opinion, is a top 5 QB in the league. I think so. I think he's capable of throwing the ball about 40 times a game and help his team win. That's just my personal opinion, but hey, that's on y'all if you don't believe it. But I do believe in Jalen Hurts a lot. So, not saying I don't think Saquon's gonna have 2,000 yards this year again because it's damn near impossible to do that. But hey, we've seen weird stuff still happen. Alright, so my one question for the New Orleans Saints is will they be bad enough to get Archie Manning? Because I've seen from camp where Tyler Shuck is not even being the best QB out of camp. It's been Spencer Rattler for right now. So I don't know how good they will be for sure, but I do think that they're actually my team to where they're going to get the number 1 pick. I think I chose them last year to get the number 1 pick and they still somehow didn't. But I'm choosing them again. They're going to continue the number 1 pick this year. They're going to get Arch Manning from Texas, and he's going to come back home to New Orleans and be their franchise QB. So that's my prediction, and we'll see how that goes for him. Alright, so my one question for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers is Todd Bowles. For what I've seen, especially me being a Jaguars fan, for what I've seen, there was a lot of people that thought that Liam Cohen could actually become the head coach over Todd Bowles soon and stuff like that. So when Liam Cohen became head coach for the Jaguars, obviously they were not happy. But Todd Bowles, as good of a track record as he has, I don't think he's really one of the more better coaches in the league because he makes the same mistakes, in my opinion, to where it just costs his teams in the end. So I'm not that sold on Todd Bowles, but I do like him enough to where he can at least win the division, possibly in a playoff game, be probably bounced around off before the championship game. So we'll see. So my one question for the Carolina Panthers is how much of a leap will Bryce Young have with Dave Canales as his head coach? Because we see him the second half of the season play his ass off, bro. No cap. He looked like Bama Bryce to me, and I'm very excited for Bryce Young to see how he plays this year because I think now with him having his confidence back and obviously having a great offensive line, a great running game, and number 1 receiver in Ted McMillan and stuff like that, I think Bryce Young would have I wouldn't say MVP type of season, but probably a Pro Bowl caliber season. I think he could do Pro Bowl caliber season. I think he can. So I'm very excited for this Carolina team. So my one question for the LA Rams is really Matthew Stafford and his health, because last few years he has been the healthiest, obviously, and we know he's tough as nails where he'll play through any injury at this point. But like at some point in time though, like he's 37, man. So like 37 is 37. He's old QB for the NFL for sure. So plus, is this really gonna be his last year? Because it's really looking like he might got maybe 2 more years left to where he might actually retire. So we'll see. But like Matthew Stafford though, he's still a top 10 talent. But like his age is starting to catch up to him big time though. Then my one question for the Chicago Bears is Ben Johnson the head coach that they needed for the very long time? Because if you want to be honest, they really should have hired him last year, but like the Bears being the Bears for some reason, so they waited a whole year to where like they basically wasted Caleb Williams' rookie year last year for sure. But I do believe in Ben Johnson. He was the most highly touted, coordinator to become head coach. And I do think his run scheme of outside zone, him using play action, will actually help Caleb Williams a lot. So we'll see how it goes. He's gonna be some growing pains for sure, but like Ben Johnson, I do think he actually has that authority where like he could lead a team and possibly fight for a 7th seed, maybe even division, depending on how division goes for him, because that is a hard division to go against. So we'll see. Sticking with the NFC North, my one question for the Minnesota Vikings is really just JJ McCarthy. I mean, we already know like the Vikings have a amazing roster, possibly really top 5 roster in the league in my opinion. And JJ McCarthy, if he's even like 8% of like a QB that he is for real like that, like they can actually win the division. But if he's not, then like expect him to be like around 7-10 if he's not really turning up the heat for real like that. So that's really all it is to him, JJ McCarthy. Alright, so my one question for the 49ers is how much of an impact will Robert Saleh have for the Niners defense? Because he's just going back to the team that helped make a great defense, and he's a really great defensive coordinator for sure. He really is. Like with the Jets, they were a top defense for a reason, and even before he left, he was with the 49ers. Like even though they didn't win that Super Bowl, they were still a great defense back then. But he's working with like less talent than he has in a very long time, and I just wonder how much of an impact he will have on that defense, where like they'll at least been like top 12. So we'll see how that goes. But I do believe Robert Saleh a lot though. So basically, same question for Dan Quinn and the Washington Commanders really is how good the defense will be, because I ain't gonna lie, like Dan Quinn, other than him being a DC, he hasn't really proven to have a great defense with him being a head coach. And like that's going back to when he was with Atlanta Falcons, and I just hope that like he can actually coach up their defense to where like they at least be like league average. So that way, the offense could, run by Jaden Daniels, can actually like do his thing. So that's what I'm hoping. But hey, I've seen where things happen. So my question for the Dallas Cowboys, without saying Jerry Jones or the head coach, is how much of an impact will Mr. Crash Out himself, George Pickens, will have with the Cowboys as his wide receiver too? Because in my opinion, he's a wide receiver 1 talent, but he might honestly have the worst QB situation he had out of all the elite wide receivers out of all of them for real, because he's been dealing with like borderline starters to backup QBs for his entire career. He still somehow had 1,000 yards with the Steelers at one point. So like, see how he does the wide receiver 2 role and how much of a jump the offense will have with them out there. So plus he's gonna be more on the outside too. So like in the deep threat. So hey, see how it goes for him, pairing him up with CeeDee Lamb. So my question for the Arizona Cardinals is, what's the ceiling for their defense? Because obviously they have Budda Baker, and then Garrett Williams. He's an underrated corner where like he's just developed and he's really good, bro. He really is. And then last year, for how really good the defense kind of was, like they didn't even have a pass rush, and now most of the pass rushers that they either drafted or got from free agency are back now. So like, I expect the pass rush to just be better and that defense to be really good under John McGannon. So like, just how good the defense will be will determine how good their season will be for the Cardinals. Then obviously my one question for the Seattle Seahawks is Sam Darnold. How good will he be? Even though like I'm not a big fan of this offseason acquisition, to be honest, because he really is the worst version of Geno Smith, where like if he feels pressure, he's gonna crumble down and probably see ghosts again. So I'm hoping I'm wrong. I really am hoping I'm wrong, but like, because that defense for the Seattle Seahawks gonna be good this year after under a year with Mike McDaniels. So like, Mike McDonald, my bad. But Sam Darnold has to prove it to me where like he can actually help the offense be at least league average. He has to. So last but not least, it's the Atlanta Falcons, and really how good will Michael Penix be, and also can Kyle Pitts finally have a better season than he did his rookie year? Like, they have to get it together for real. Obviously, the defense needs to get better for sure. Basically, most of their pass rushers, but like, it's really about just development of the young players, Michael Penix, Bijan, all of them. See how good the offense will be, and really how good the offense will be will really know how good the Falcons will be. So, and also Kyle Pitts has to get at least over 800 yards this year, and hopefully he gets 6 touchdowns too. But that's all I got for y'all though. But yeah, comment down below what question you have for your favorite team or for any other NFL team besides what I said. But like, that is Nas Lee in the building, bro. I'm about to sign out, man. Appreciate y'all watching the video, and y'all have a great day, man. Peace out.